Chapter 6: Fabricating the Bone Refining Stages. This bone refining has its intricacies. It's divided into stages. Although Shu Yan's question about bone refining caught him off guard, Li Chan remained calm. After all, in his previous life, he was a web novel writer with a knack for making things up. Having consumed chicken soup stewed with 9-leaf ginseng recently, his memory had improved, and his mind was sharper. He quickly figured out how to fabricate an explanation. Today, as your master, I will explain in detail about the knowledge of bone refining. Bone refining is an extremely important foundation and must not be taken lightly, as it relates to the strength of martial arts. As the saying goes, if the bones are not strong, form, and then the body is not strong. Li Xuan's mind raced as he methodically concocted a theory. His explanations were so coherent that Su Yan was captivated. Form, frequently nodding and sometimes appearing to have sudden realizations. So bone refining has so many intricacies. Fortunately, Master often advises me to remain calm and not be impatient. Otherwise, if I hastily refined my bones without understanding the details, would I be cutting off my martial path prospects? Su Yan sighed inwardly. Indeed, I must heed Master's teachings, not be impatient, remain steady, and gain more insights. The more he listened, the more profound he found the bone refining stage to be. Once bone refining is complete, and intent, his strength would certainly increase several times over. I've mastered skin refining and am about to complete it. After finishing skin refining, I must pause to comprehend the way of bone refining before starting it. I must not rush. Xian made up his mind. Lexuan, having fabricated for a while, observed Xian's expression. Seeing his earnest listening, he nodded with satisfaction and said, "Disciple, you must remember that starting slow doesn't mean you will always be slow in cultivation. Just like building a house, the foundation is extremely important. Without a solid foundation, it's easy to collapse under the stress of wind. The same goes for cultivation. Pursuing speed in the early stages can stifle your upper limits and prospects in martial arts. And intent throughout history, many have cultivated quickly in the early stages, appearing as prodigies. However, later on, with an unstable foundation, their progress slows, and they even reach a limit with no further advancement." Li Shan's intention was to comfort Su Yan. Although he hadn't sensed his vital energy yet, there was no need to rush during the foundational stage. A solid foundation was key. Su Yan, however, was invigorated, thinking, "Master is warning me that although my cultivation speed can't compare to ancient prodigies, as long as my foundation is solid, and I can certainly surpass them later. Master has high hopes for me. And I must not disappoint him. I must lay a solid foundation and surpass those ancient prodigies." Moved, Shi Yan respectfully said, "Master, rest assured, I will remember your teachings, remain calm, and strengthen my foundation." "I will not let you down!" Lexuan nodded with gratification, saying, "I'm glad you understand my painstaking efforts." He thought, "Finally, I've managed to persuade him. Even if he can't sense his vital energy for a month or two, he should be able to remain calm, right? Besides, with the 9-leaf ginseng chicken soup, his body should grow stronger too. He must think it's due to cultivation. However, deceiving can only last for a while, especially with something like cultivation. Fortunately, Su Yan isn't too bright, so I still need to plan an exit strategy, since this guy does have a background." Now that Yan's mindset was stable, it was much easier to manage. Just let him continue cultivating. The year-long period was still far away. "Master, you mentioned that bone refining is divided into stages. What are the details?" Xian asked respectfully. "Yes, that's right. Bone refining is divided into stages." Li Xuan was momentarily stunned, almost forgetting to fabricate the stages of bone refining. "I'll make the difficulty of bone refining sound higher." Xian can't even sense his vital energy or complete skin refining, so attempting something as difficult as bone refining is even more of a pipe dream. When he fails to cultivate successfully for a long time, he'll realize it's due to his lack of talent and voluntarily leave, feeling ashamed of failing his master's cultivation efforts. If I then offer him a chance, Like saying he can try again if he has children, it gives him a glimmer of hope. If he can't succeed in cultivation, his children might. This way, the possibility of being exposed is lower. And I can also have a disciple's gift from his future children. Oh, having deceived once, he didn't mind doing it a second time. Li Xuan thought that once this matter was settled, and he successfully left the small village, he would hide in Wu State, making it almost impossible to meet Xi Yan again. With Xi Yan's disciple gift, he could live a better life in Wu State. Composing himself, he said seriously, "The path of bone refining is divided into 4 stages: bone like iron, bone like copper, rather than fold, and bone like jade." Axian, excited. Iron bone, copper bone, gold bone, jade bone. Are these the 4 stages of bone refining? Li Shan shook his head and said, "No. These are the 4 stages of bone refining, representing the upper limits of the martial path and one's own strength. Iron bone is where most ordinary martial artists, with bones tempered by vital energy, hard as iron, impervious to ordinary blades. However, iron bone is just average, with limited martial potential. Copper bone is stronger than iron bone. Its bones resemble copper, remaining uncorrupted even after 1,000 years post-mortem. Once copper bone is achieved, the foundation is solid, and the martial potential is higher, considered above average. Only those who refine gold bone are considered prodigies." Li Xuan said this solemnly. In ancient, all prodigies refined gold bone. Xian, now even more excited, eyes glistening, asked, "Master, how can one refine gold bone?" Seeing Xian's gleaming eyes and excitement, Li Xuan was a bit speechless. And did this guy think he could refine gold bone? That was something I made up. So he said sternly, "Stay calm and composed." "Yes, master." Xian hastily restrained his excitement, sitting upright. Once gold bone is achieved, even buried for 1,000 years, it remains lustrous, stronger than steel. However, throughout history, those who could refine gold bone are 1 in 10,000, Li Xuan said seriously. "When I say 1 in 10,000, I mean among the many prodigies, 1 in 10,000. Master, are there different levels among prodigies too?" Xi Yan asked curiously.
Of course.
Li Xuan nodded. "Just like beauty, there are differences among them." "Prodigies are the same," Yan suddenly understood. "I get it, just like the Chengxiang house in Dong County. The lead courtesan is a rare beauty. But the flower queen is even more beautiful." Li Xuan's expression turned strange, inwardly gritting his teeth. As expected of a rich young master, he must have frequented brothels, right? "I want to go too." "Master, and I'm just making an analogy. I've never been there." Noticing Li Xuan's strange look, Xu Yan awkwardly explained. Chapter 7, Blowing It Out of Proportion. Li Xuan withdrew his gaze and resumed his stern teacher demeanor. "Your analogy, though not elegant, captures the essence." But Xu Yan breathed a sigh of relief and silently warned himself, "I mustn't use improper analogies in the future. It could leave a bad impression on master. Those who can achieve gold bone are 1 in 10,000. Even if the early cultivation speed doesn't match the ancient prodigies. Achieving gold bone makes one no less than an ancient prodigy." Li Xuan continued his fabrication. To refine gold bone requires perseverance, talent, and persistence. The vital energy permeates the bones, refining the marrow, leading to a transformation of vital energy. This cycle repeats 9 times, and gold bone is formed. The difficulty of gold bone is self-evident. Perseverance, talent, and persistence are indispensable. Achieving gold bone paves a smooth path in martial arts. Xu Yan was stirred with passion. "Master, I will definitely refine gold bone. You have such ambition. I am pleased as your master. But everything should be done within one's means. There's no need to demand too much." Li Xuan nodded with satisfaction, silently thinking, "It would be a miracle if you could refine gold bone." But Xu Yan was eager to start cultivating immediately, striving to complete bone refining and achieve gold bone as soon as possible. After hearing Master's words, his blood was boiling, filled with motivation. "Master, what about jade bone? What is jade bone?" Xu Yan hadn't forgotten that above gold bone, there was jade bone in the bone refining stages. "Jade bone, huh?" Li Xuan paused and said, "Originally, I wasn't planning to talk about jade bone. but since you've asked, I'll tell. At this moment, his mind was racing, fabricating a story about jade bone. Those with jade bone have flawless bones, as crystal clear as jade. Those who achieve jade bone are 1 in a million. Li Xuan stood up, one hand behind his, slightly raising his head, fully displaying the demeanor of a master. He slowly began. Disciple, jade bone isn't something achieved with talent, perseverance, or persistence. Those who achieve jade bone are all favored by great fortune in the heavens. Only those with exceptional understanding, who can sense the great Tao, can achieve jade bone. Remember, do not aim too high. Ashuyan was greatly shocked. Great fortune, favored by the able to sense the great Tao. This was too profound. The more profound it sounded, the more powerful one must be upon achieving jade bone. Master, what happens if one achieves jade bone? Li Xuan looked at him with a seemingly profound gaze and said, there is a saying about jade bone, flawless, uncorrupted through the ages. Once jade bone is achieved, even after death, it remains uncorrupted through the ages. It even becomes a treasure of the world, as if imbued with spirit, becoming a rare treasure. Li Xuan fabricated and exaggerated the jade bone to a fantastical level. Xu Yan was utterly shocked, clenching his fists tightly, his blood boiling, eager to achieve jade bone. Li Xuan patted his shoulder and said, I don't expect you to achieve jade bone. Just keep this faith in your heart and do your best. Xu Yan clenched his fist with determination. Master, rest assured, I will work hard and not disappoint your expectations. Li Xuan looked pleased, thinking that since he'd already talked about bone refining, he might as well fabricate something about organ refining. Seeing Xu Yan's enthusiasm, like being injected with energy, he would be filled with fighting spirit for a while. Taking advantage of his inspiration, he decided to tell him about organ refining as well. So Li Xuan began, since I've explained bone refining in detail, I'll also tell you about organ refining as a foundation. Thank you, Master. I am all ears, Xu Yan said respectfully. Organ refining involves tempering the internal organs, enhancing their vitality and strength. Those who master organ refining can survive even with a heart wound, using vital energy to heal and recover the heart. Of course, this only applies to ordinary injuries. If injured by vital energy, Li Xuan spoke slowly and steadily. Xu Yan was shocked to hear this. Surviving a heart wound and recovering with vital energy, the strength of martial arts truly exceeds ordinary imagination. The 5 organs correspond to the 5 elements: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. When vital energy circulates through the 5 organs, becoming a harmonious whole, and the 5 elements unite, organ refining is complete. Then, when the foundational realm is mastered and unified within oneself, with muscles and bones resonating in vital energy like steel, one has entered the door. Li Xuan fabricated a theory for organ refining and outlined some rough methods. Not being an actual cultivator, nor having any true techniques, his fabricated cultivation method couldn't be very detailed but provided a rough framework. After finishing, Li Xuan added, Disciple, remember, true cultivation is about understanding and intention. Only this way can you walk your own path. The method I teach you is the true essence of martial arts. You must understand and grasp the intention within, not be constrained by specific forms. Do you understand? Xu Yan respectfully saluted and said, Wes, Master, I will keep it in mind, always seeking understanding, and will not relax or be constrained by forms. I'm glad you understand. Li Xuan looked, clean up, feed the chickens, and then start cultivating. After dismissing Xu Yan, Li Xuan took out the 1,000-year-old ginseng. His face showed a conflicted expression. This was a rare treasure. Wouldn't it be a waste to stew it now? Such a large root, it wouldn't hurt to stew a little and taste it. In 2 lifetimes, I've never eaten 1,000-year-old ginseng. Li Xuan snapped off 2 long ginseng roots and instructed Yan to use them for chicken stew tomorrow. After finishing his chores, Xu Yan began cultivating, assuming a horse stance, tempering his skin membrane, and carefully contemplating the bone and organ refining methods taught by his master. I must grasp the intention within, understand its mysteries. Gradually, Xu Yan gained some insights, finding a clear direction in the specific methods of bone and organ refining. Refining skin is like this, so bone and organ refining must not be too different. Just different ways of mobilizing vital energy and different directions of temper. I understand now. Xu Yan was thrilled. The next day, after enjoying a meal of chicken soup stewed with 1,000-year-old ginseng, Xuan was surprised to find himself feeling more vigorous and enduring, his body seemingly becoming stronger. The 1,000-year-old ginseng in this world has such miraculous effects. He immediately took out the entire ginseng, instructing Xu Yan to stew a little each day. Although ginseng is precious, his own body is more important. Xu Yan, however, was deeply moved, his eyes moist. This is my disciple's gift, yet Master unhesitatingly uses it to aid my cultivation. I must not let Master down. When I enter bone refining, I'll return and definitely choose a fine disciple's gift for Master. While cultivating, Xu Yan felt his vital energy becoming more vigorous, rapidly increasing the tempering speed of his skin membrane. The ginseng's medicinal power was continuously refined, enhancing his vital energy and speeding up the skin membrane tempering process. At the latest, I'll complete skin refining the day after tomorrow. Sensing his progress in skin refining, Xu Yan felt greatly invigorated.